Last part, automation and integration. And this I do have. So I'll disagree with Kevin in a little bit in the fact that Orchestrator is not just a drag and drop utility and not just PowerShell glorified things. It's a full automation tool. It's orchestration. It can do savage amount of stuff, but your brain has to change from the wizard GUI of where you're next, to actually have to think about how you're doing and actually become one of our dreaded friends of the dev. Yeah, see, he got fright there. It's okay. You don't have to become that much of a dev. So you have to think about what's coming into the system and what the actual expected output is. And if you don't do that and you can't change your mindset, well, then don't touch Orchestrator. It's okay. Get someone else to do it. Just please, you do have to take it into approach. So how many people have clusters in their environment? Many people absolutely love patching them. You must love patching your clusters, especially if you have manual WSUS. Ah, you see, yeah, see, we're getting there. Windows Server 2012 cluster, fantastic. Scale out file server, which one? Tell me, go on, I'm excited. I don't know. I'm more confused now. Then the 2-day service purpose. But, so, traditional cluster state. Cluster hopefully is healthy. Drain the node, all these bits and pieces, put it into Ops Manager maintenance mode. Oh my God, there's just so many steps, I want to cry. How long do you reckon that would take? Is there any more? Let's just go back here. How how long do you think that would take? And when do you think you'd be allowed to do it? So that Friday night thing that I was telling you about, of where you sit there and script to your heart's content and do all these wonderful jobs, that's probably when you're going to do these type of things. Or in the middle of the night because you have 2 hours of downtime that you potentially have to do it in. So it's a pain. Yeah, imagine doing it on a 64-node cluster with manual WSUS. Fantastic, give it to me now. My point being is that would be an absolute pain. Even on a single manual server, patching it and sitting there waiting for a Windows installer and then having to make sure the services come back up afterwards and all these wonderful bits and pieces is painful. Yes? Yeah. So, manual execution, yuck, yes, we know, we don't like it. Complex configurations of configuration manager, collections and maintenance windows. Yeah, that would be difficult as well. It really would, like having to make sure all the things are scoped correctly and you get the right patches down and they're downloaded at the right time and scoped and then deployed out to the thing and all your compliance and automation things. Yeah, that's going to be complicated. That's great. So now, let's talk about Server 2012. Just a little bit in terms of our cluster aware updating. So the fact that we'll actually bounce the nodes, update, bounce, update, bounce, update, bounce, update, bounce, and it will sort it all out for you. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice then to use something like System Center Orchestrator to be able to do the tests on the system to actually make sure it's actually working correctly after it's come back up? Wouldn't it be nice? So I'm gonna probably put a little stippler in Ops Manager, but the value of Ops Manager is unparamount. Yep, don't get me wrong. Ops Manager, like is fantastic. If you can't afford Ops Manager and you're licensed for Orchestrator, well then you do some fun stuff. Because what you can do is actually get Orchestrator and you can write little bits in Orchestrator to actually test your system for you. So all these client visualization tests, you can do it. You want to log into a Linux box and actually test that bind is working correctly or something like that, you can do it. You want to log into a switch and download the config on a nightly basis, you can do it with Orchestrator. Why not? You want to do stuff in Exchange, do it with Orchestrator. You want to do stuff in VMM, Service Manager, all these wonderful bits and pieces, change control, automated patching, all these bits and pieces, do it in Orchestrator. It really is the central point of all these bits and pieces that we're talking about for the last couple of days. So we can do cluster aware updating. It's integrated into VMM and it's exposed to VMM through an integration pack into Orchestrator. So you can build a very simple runbook that's actually publicly available on the web on the Building Clouds blog from Microsoft at the minute. There's 58 different runbooks that will do all these maintenance tasks for you. Already built. All you have to do is go in and right click on each individual task that you want and configure for your environment. And they've been written in such a way that you can potentially just change variables that were inside the system to actually make it run for your environment, which is even easier. So it's not beyond your control. You can include PowerShell if you want, but there's a lot of native integration, so use the native integration. Use the drag and drop feature and just put in the server variables that you want. Say, I want to connect to this server and I want to do this particular task. I want to get the VM. I want to stop the VM. I want to restart the VM. I want to do whatever these bits and pieces are. If it doesn't exist, well, then you can write it in PowerShell and port it like that. So, so it's well documented. There is an MMS session on, configuration manager and orchestrator. So go on to channel 9, look it up, and you will actually see, and I actually have to do this next month for a customer, of where we're going to use orchestrator to patch manage their systems. So it will download automatically, create the collection for us, scope the particular updates for the last month, test the systems that they're in a nice, good, healthy state, drain the system if necessary, patch the system, bring it back up, test that the actual things work correctly, and then put it back into production. How cool would that be? Do you think it would be? I think it would be cool. So it might be overkill for your environments. I'm absolutely aware of this, but remember, this is a journey for a lot of things. Hopefully you are not going to stay in the same IT environment that you will for your entire life, unless you really love your server. But hopefully it will move on and you'll get to more stuff. So you're kind of asking yourself, yeah, okay, well, forget the golf lady. You're kind of asking yourself, well, okay, well, the same amount of steps. What are I have 3 less steps. It's kind of like, it's still a lot of steps. You're not involved in these steps. So the only thing that you actually do is create an update request to say I want to patch the servers. The latest patches have come down from Microsoft. I want to be part of my change control process. Someone to make a request saying, I want to patch servers 1 to 64. Great. Put the request in. Goes to your manager. Your manager kind of goes, oh, he wants to patch 1 to 64. Yeah, you can, and you can do it inside this maintenance window. Fantastic. Over here, look, I got my request. Grand. Now, you can have it as an automated workflow, so it can just ping back and forth for notification. Or you can have it in where someone has to go in and actually approve or move it to the next stage of the automation task. So it can say, now, they're not aware of all these runbooks. You don't have to know about these. Will you build it and forget about it? It's done. And then you get a report at the end of it saying, it's done. You get an email on your phone on a Sunday night and go, my cluster's done. Or I really should go in here because something's after happening. But my point is you'll know. Rather than what a lot of people do, and what a lot of people I still know do, is kick off a patch on a Friday night, log in on a Saturday morning and kind of go, oh, crap. It didn't come back up or I got stuck. It happens. No, it's no big deal. But now you get to a level of an automation, so you can build in error control that if the patch cycle hasn't finished within the time, you can be notified. If the patch cycle has completed, you can test the system to make sure the system is actually okay based on the requirements that you've defined in your processes and policies and life cycle that we were talking about. This is where it's going to. This is the stuff that you would love to be doing. This is obviously the golden goose. This takes time to get to. But it's nothing that you couldn't, with a little bit of planning, get in your environment in a couple of weeks and get ready. It's not hard. There is tons of videos, and I mean really good 5-minute videos will teach you the basics of Orchestrator to be able to do this. It's not rocket science. It only becomes rocket science when it goes wrong and you actually have to start troubling when it gets into like security contexts and execution modes and things like this. That's when it starts to get more interesting, or geekiness, whatever you want to call it. But my point is, we can all go play golf. Now, I hate golf, so I should have changed the picture. But if you're into golf, you can go play golf and not worry. Why? Because you're going to get your email on the phone saying you're all good. Go to the 19th hole and you can go to the clubhouse afterwards and have a drink. Or drop what you're doing and get the hell in here now quickly. But you'll know you're going to get from your boss because the system has told you. Or the poor on-call guy can actually go in. Hopefully there is an on-call guy.